Hi, this is Mr. Urrego, and today we're going to talk about radians and degrees. So, as the name is saying, we're talking about degrees. That's going to be an angle, alright? So we're talking about the measure of an angle. Now, there's two systems, if we can call it like that, which are radians and degrees. So far, we're used to use degrees in every single thing that we use. When we work with angles, we always use degrees. But now for our pre-calc students, we're going to start working on these units, radians. Radians is really, we use it a lot. So the basic conversion is pi radians is equal to 180 degrees. I'm sorry. Pi radians is equal to 180 degrees. That's my basic conversion, and from there I can turn or convert any dimension from degrees to radians or radians to degrees. The most common angles that we talk about is probably 30 degrees, 60 degrees, 45 degrees, 90 degrees, and so on. We need to turn these angles into pi radians. Okay, so RAD stands for radians. Okay, sometimes we don't even write the units. We just write pi. Okay, but it's understood that if there's no units after the pi, then the units are radians. Okay, so when we have degrees, we always put that little circle. Okay, that means 180 degrees. But again, if by any chance we put units after our degrees, then after our measure, then the units will be radians. Besides, let me erase this. Besides having pi radians, we know that if we plug pi into calculator, we're gonna get 3.1415, etc. Normally we use only two decimal places, which is 31.14. So, as well, we can turn pi into 3.14. If there's no unit, then my units will be radians. Okay, so my conversion unit, actually I can extend it into three different parts. I can say that as well, that pi is the same as 3.14, which is the same as 180 degrees. I didn't write any units on this one or this one, therefore the units are radians. So I can write either pi radians or I can write just simply pi. When I'm talking about angles, okay, as well, we understand that right now we're talking about angles, the measure of an angle. Okay, so that's what we're doing right now. Let's get rid of this and let's turn this. Okay, so the whole idea right now of this lesson is to convert those 30 degrees into radians, radians in terms of pi. It's really common to see no decimals. We normally don't use this too much, 3.14, when we're talking about an angle. Normally we either use degrees or in terms of pi, and I'll show you how. So I'm going to turn 30 degrees into pi radians. Okay, so I know I want my answer in terms of pi. Alright, I know that 108 pi is equal to 180 degrees. So basically when I'm making a conversion, I'm going to multiply by a fraction. Okay, and I'm going to use pi and 180 degrees as my conversion unit. Because I'm doing 30 degrees right now, I need to cancel those degrees. So in order for me to cancel, I need to put my 180 degrees on the bottom. So degrees with degrees will cancel out. The conversion unit for 180 degrees is pi. We know that pi is equal to 180. So when I'm writing this conversion here, I'm saying pi is the same as 180. So I'm doing the same thing basically. The only thing that I want is to turn this 30 degrees into pi radians. So the only process that I have to do is basically cancel degrees with degrees on the bottom, and then I'll have 30 times pi divided by 180. And from there, I just need to reduce. So that 30 and 180, I can cancel a 0 and a 0. Okay. And then 3 over 18, I can reduce by 3. And that will give me pi on the top. And divided by 3, that will give me 6. So 30 degrees is the same as pi over 6. Again, I'm not putting any units, therefore pi over 6 radians. You can write pi over 6, or you can write 1 pi over 6, or you can write 1 over 6 times pi. All of them are the same. So whenever we're doing pre-calc, most likely, and after that, we would like to use this kind of units, and it's going to be in terms of pi. Let's do another one. Okay, so let's do one more. Let's do 60 degrees. Let's scroll down. Now we have 60 degrees and we want to turn it into pi radians. Again, pi is equal to 180 degrees. So because I'm gonna multiply, okay, time my conversion unit, because I want to cancel degrees, then therefore whoever has the degrees is going to be on the bottom. The other part will be on the top. So that'll be 60 times pi over 180. Okay, the degrees from the 60 and the degrees from the 180, they will cancel out. I will cancel 1 0, and then I'll have 6 pi over 18 divided by 6 on the top and the bottom. I'll have pi over 3. So 60 degrees is the same as pi over 3. Let's do one more. We did 36. We did 30/60. Let's do 45. 45 degrees. Okay. Oh. Again, I want everything in terms of pi radians. So I need to multiply by something. But I remembered my conversion unit here in the top. Pi is equal to 180. Because I want to cancel the degrees, then the 180 degrees will be in the bottom, so I can cancel those degrees with those degrees. 180 degrees, if those are on the bottom, then I'll put pi on the top. So again, if by any chance you didn't understand how to multiply those fractions, I'll put 45 over 1, and then top with top will give me 45 pi, and on the bottom it will give me 180. Okay, in this case I need to reduce that 45 over 180. An easy way how to find out if how many times there's 45 and 180, I just do the opposite basically. I divide 180 by 45, and that'll give me 4. So basically I can divide this by 9 if I want. I just erase that. If I divide it by 9, I'll get 5 over here, then I'll get 5 pi. If I divide by 9 on the bottom, I'll get 2 here, and that's 0. And here I can divide by 5, so that's going to give me 5 pi over 4. So 45 degrees is the same as pi over 4. Okay, now I want to show you how to go from pi radians to degrees. Alright, so let's go to a second page, And then let's say I have, I don't know, an easy one. Let's do an easy one for now. Pi over 2. Okay, I want to know how many degrees is pi over 2. So again, I need to have my conversion unit. I know that 180 degrees is equal to pi. But now I'm going from pi to degrees. So again, I always multiply by a fraction. Okay, whenever you're converting from one unit to another unit, you're multiplying. Now, I have my conversion unit on the right. I have pi here, which is the one that I'm going to cancel. Therefore, I need to put the pi on the bottom. The other one will go on the top, which is 180 degrees. In this case, I'll cancel pi with pi, and then I'll have 180 degrees over 2, which will give me 90 degrees. So, pi over 2 is equal to 90 degrees. So that's the process. Basically, if you're going from pi radians to degrees, you just turn around these two. Okay. Let's do another one. Let's do a different one. Let's do 5 pi over 6. Let's do 5 pi over 6. Okay. I want to turn that into degrees. Again, I need to multiply by a fraction. How do I choose which one goes on the bottom, which one goes on the top? Easy. If I have pi and I want to cancel that pi, I need to put the other pi on the bottom. My equal will go on the top. We know that 180 degrees is equal to pi. Now, this pi will cancel with that pi on the bottom, and I just need to multiply the top. I don't like to use calculators, so let's write that down, and then we reduce. So top with top, 5 times 180 over 6. We can reduce this 6 with that 18. So I'm going to have 5 times 30 equals over 1, which is going to give me 150 degrees. So 5 pi over 6, I'm sorry, I forgot to put the pi. 5 pi over 6 is the same as 150 degrees. So that's how we convert from radians to degrees. Now, if you notice, we did 30, 60, 45, 90, and we just did 150. The whole idea is that we work on the coordinate plane. Okay, let's see if we're going to get some straight lines over here. We work on the coordinate plane. Alright, and we're talking about angles. And let's say that this is 30 degrees, which we found out that it was equal to pi over 6, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, we're talking about angles. That's what we're doing right now. Okay, just quick thing. We're talking about angles, then we have our initial ray over here, and then we have our final ray, and those two rays made out of the angle. What else? That's why we use 30, like right now this is 90. Okay, then this will be 180 up to here. Well, I'm not saying up to here. That'll be 180. If I go all the way to my third here, that'll be 270 degrees. So we need to know how much are those in pi radians. 90, we find out that it was pi over 2. 180 is equal to pi. 270 is equal to 3 pi over 2. If we go the whole way around it, okay, if we go all the way around it, so that's one revolution. That's basically 360 degrees. One revolution, one all the way going around it one time. 360 degrees is the same as 2 pi. So we need to get used to work in terms of pi radians, because when we do trigonometry, that's what we use mostly. That's most of the times that's what we use. Okay, so as a quick brief out of how to work with degrees and radians, study please.